Have you ever gazed up at the night sky and wondered why the moon seems to change its shape from night to night? Sometimes it looks like a perfect circle, while other times it appears as a thin crescent or even disappears completely. This fascinating phenomenon has intrigued people for centuries, inspiring myths, stories, and scientific curiosity. In this video, we'll unravel the mystery behind the moon's changing shape, exploring the science of lunar phases and what causes these beautiful transformations. Let's embark on a journey to understand the secrets of our closest celestial neighbor. The changing shapes of the moon are known as lunar phases. These phases describe how much of the moon's surface is illuminated by the sun and visible from Earth. The moon doesn't actually change its shape. Instead, the portion we see lit up changes as the moon orbits our planet. Over the course of about a month, the moon goes through a predictable cycle of phases, from new moon to full moon, and back again. Understanding these phases is the first step to unlocking the reason behind the moon's ever-shifting appearance. To understand why the moon changes shape, we need to look at its journey around Earth. The moon orbits our planet in an elliptical path, taking about 29.5 days to complete one cycle. As it moves, the angle between the sun, moon, and Earth changes, which affects how much of the moon's surface is lit up and visible to us. This constant movement is the key to the moon's changing appearance, and it's all about perspective, how we see the sunlight reflecting off the moon from our vantage point on Earth. The moon doesn't produce its own light. Instead, it shines because it reflects sunlight. As the moon orbits Earth, different parts of its surface catch the sun's rays, while the rest remains in shadow. The portion that's illuminated is what we see as the moon's shape in the sky. When the sun, Earth, and moon line up in certain ways, we see more or less of the lit side, creating the familiar phases we know so well. The lunar cycle begins with the new moon. During this phase, the moon is positioned between the Earth and the Sunday. The side of the moon facing Earth is in complete shadow, making it nearly invisible in the night sky. This is why, during a new moon, you might look up and not see the moon at all. It's still there, but the sunlight is shining on the far side, away from our view. After the new moon, a small sliver of light appears on the right side of the moon. This is called the waxing crescent phase. Each night, the illuminated portion grows larger, or waxes, as the moon moves in its orbit. The waxing crescent is a beautiful sight, often seen as a thin, curved slice of light against the dark sky. About a week after the new moon, we reach the first quarter phase. Here, half of the moon's surface is illuminated and visible from Earth. The right half shines brightly, while the left half remains in shadow. Despite the name, the moon is actually 1/4 of the way through its orbit, not 1/4 lit. As the moon continues its journey, more than half of its surface becomes illuminated. This phase is called waxing gibbous. The bright portion grows larger each night, but the moon isn't quite full yet. The waxing gibbous phase is a sign that the full moon is just around the corner. The full moon is perhaps the most famous lunar phase. During this time, the entire face of the moon is illuminated by the sun and visible from Earth. The moon is on the opposite side of Earth from the sun, allowing us to see its fully lit surface. Full moons have been celebrated in cultures around the world for their beauty and brightness. After the full moon, the illuminated portion of the moon begins to shrink, or wane. This phase is called waning gibbous. The left side remains bright, but each night, the lit area gets smaller as the moon moves toward the last quarter phase. The last quarter phase occurs when the left half of the moon is illuminated and the right half is in shadow. The moon is now 3/4 of the way through its orbit. This phase is also known as the third quarter, and it marks the final stages before the cycle starts anew. As the moon approaches the end of its cycle, only a thin crescent of light remains on the left side. This is the waning crescent phase. Each night, the illuminated portion shrinks until the moon returns to the new moon phase, and the cycle begins again. Once the waning crescent disappears, the moon returns to the new moon phase, and the entire cycle starts over. This continuous pattern is why we see the moon's shape change in a regular, predictable way each month. The lunar phases are a beautiful reminder of the cosmic dance between the sun, Earth, and moon. You might wonder why the moon isn't always full if it's always there in the sky. The answer lies in the geometry of the sun, Earth, and moon. Depending on their positions, we see different amounts of the moon's sunlit side. Only when the Earth is between the sun and the moon do we see the full moon. Sometimes, the Earth's shadow falls on the moon, causing a lunar eclipse. This is different from the regular phases, as the moon passes directly behind Earth and into its shadow. During a total lunar eclipse, the moon can appear red, a phenomenon known as a blood moon. You might expect a lunar eclipse every month, but that's not the case. The moon's orbit is tilted about 5 degrees relative to Earth's orbit around the Sunday. This means the sun, Earth, and moon don't line up perfectly every month, so eclipses are relatively rare events. Another interesting fact is that the moon rotates on its axis at the same rate it orbits Earth. This is called synchronous rotation, which is why we always see the same side of the moon from Earth. The far side, often called the dark side, is never visible to us, though it receives sunlight too. The moon's phases don't just affect what we see in the sky, they also influence life on Earth. The gravitational pull of the moon causes ocean tides, and these tides are strongest during the new and full moon phases when the sun, Earth, and moon are aligned. Throughout history, the changing phases of the moon have played a significant role in cultures around the world. Many calendars are based on the lunar cycle, and festivals, rituals, and stories are often tied to specific phases. The full moon, in particular, is celebrated in many traditions for its brightness and beauty. The moon's changing shape has inspired countless myths and legends. In some cultures, the phases of the moon are seen as the journey of a goddess or a rabbit living on the moon. These stories reflect humanity's fascination with the night sky and our desire to explain the natural world. Farmers have long used the lunar phases to guide planting and harvesting. Some believe that certain phases are better for sowing seeds, while others are ideal for reaping crops. This practice, known as lunar agriculture, is still followed in some parts of the world today. Many festivals around the world are timed to coincide with specific lunar phases. For example, the Mid-Autumn Festival in China celebrates the full moon, while Ramadan in Islam begins with the sighting of the new crescent moon. These celebrations highlight the moon's importance in human culture. Before the invention of modern clocks, people used the moon's phases to keep track of time. Lunar calendars, based on the cycle of phases, were among the earliest ways to measure months and seasons. Even today, some cultures use lunar calendars for religious and traditional purposes. Modern science explains the moon's phases with precise measurements and observations. Astronomers use telescopes and satellites to study the moon's orbit, surface, and the way sunlight interacts with it. This scientific understanding helps us predict lunar phases and eclipses with great accuracy. If you were to observe the moon from space, you'd see that half of it is always illuminated by the sunday. The phases we see from Earth are simply a matter of perspective, how much of the lit side is visible to us at any given time. This perspective changes as the moon orbits our planet. Let's visualize the lunar phases with a simple diagram. Imagine the sun, Earth, and moon in space. As the moon orbits Earth, the angle between them changes, and so does the portion of the moon we see illuminated. This diagram helps us understand why the moon's shape appears to change. You don't need a telescope to observe the moon's phases. With just your eyes, you can watch the moon change shape over the course of a month. Keeping a simple journal or taking photos each night can help you track the lunar cycle and notice the subtle differences from one phase to the next. Sailors and travelers have used the moon's phases for navigation. By knowing the phase and position of the moon, they could estimate the time of night and even their direction. This ancient skill highlights the practical importance of understanding lunar phases. Many animals are influenced by the moon's phases. For example, some sea creatures time their breeding cycles with the full moon, while nocturnal animals may be more active during brighter nights. The lunar cycle is a powerful force in the natural world. Some people believe that the moon's phases can affect human behavior, moods, and even sleep patterns. While scientific evidence is mixed, the idea of a lunar effect persists in folklore and popular culture, showing just how deeply the moon's changing shape is woven into our lives. Artists have long been inspired by the moon's phases, capturing its changing shapes in paintings, poetry, and music. The moon's beauty and mystery continue to spark creativity and wonder in people of all ages. Today, technology allows us to study the moon's phases in incredible detail. High-resolution images from satellites and space missions reveal the moon's surface and help us understand its changing appearance. Apps and websites can even predict the exact phase for any date. The phases of the moon have guided explorers and astronauts alike. During the Apollo missions, NASA carefully planned landings to coincide with certain lunar phases for optimal lighting and safety. The moon's changing face continues to be a focus for future exploration. The moon's phases have even influenced language. Phrases like once in a blue moon or honeymoon have their roots in lunar cycles. These expressions show how the moon's changing shape has become part of our everyday speech. Science fiction writers often use the moon's phases as a backdrop for stories of adventure and mystery. The changing moon can symbolize transformation, cycles, or hidden secrets, adding depth to tales set in space or on distant worlds. Photographers love capturing the moon's phases, from the delicate crescent to the glowing full moon. Each phase offers unique lighting and mood, making the moon a favorite subject for night sky photography. Teachers use the moon's phases to introduce students to astronomy and the scientific method. Observing and recording the phases helps students develop observation skills and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. In some traditions, People believe that the moon's phases can predict the weather. While there's no scientific basis for this, sayings like clear moon, frost soon show how closely people have watched the moon for clues about the world around them. Even in our modern, technology-driven world, the moon's phases continue to capture our imagination. From planning outdoor events to setting the mood for a romantic evening, the changing moon remains a constant companion in our lives. Future space missions to the moon will continue to rely on an understanding of lunar phases. Whether for landing, site selection, or planning surface activities, knowing the moon's changing light is essential for exploration and safety. The moon's ever-changing face has inspired poets, scientists, and dreamers alike. Its phases remind us of the cycles of nature and the passage of time, inviting us to look up and wonder about our place in the universe. To sum up, the moon appears to change shape because of its orbit around Earth and the way sunlight illuminates its surface. The cycle of phases is a beautiful, predictable pattern that connects us to the rhythms of the cosmos. By understanding the science behind the phases, we can appreciate the moon's beauty even more. Next time you look up at the night sky, take a moment to notice the moon's shape. Whether it's a thin crescent or a glowing full moon, you'll know the science behind its changing face. The moon's phases are a nightly reminder of the wonders of our universe. Share your newfound knowledge about the moon's phases with friends and family. Observing the lunar cycle together can be a fun and educational experience, sparking curiosity and a deeper connection to the night sky. The moon's changing shape is a timeless wonder, connecting generations through science, art, and imagination. As we continue to explore and learn, the moon will always be there, lighting up our nights and inspiring us to reach for the stars.